What's going on, everyone? So, D'Angelo Russell kind of seems like public enemy number one in a lot of ways for many in Laker Nation. Not everybody, but a lot of people really are just down on D'Lo. I've seen so many comments from people that are just like, Lakers should have never re-signed him, the Lakers should have traded him, this, that, and the other. And look, I get it. Recency bias, what have you done for me lately? He was really bad in that Denver series, don't get me wrong, but he was also really good throughout the course of the regular season for the games he played for us, and we don't even make the play-in or the playoffs without D'Angelo Russell. I mean, people forget, like, the dude gave us 17 and 6 a game. The guy was almost an 18-5-5 guy on 50% from the field and almost 42% from three. And on top of that, he had no chemistry, no setup, no nothing. He didn't have LeBron James. Anthony Davis was disappearing at times. This guy was putting up like 30-point games on several occasions. Like, he was very good and was a huge reason why we even made the playoffs. And then once we got into the playoffs, the Memphis series, he completely saved us. And several times in that Golden State Warriors series, in the third quarter, he just completely took over and ended up saving us. So, I mean, we don't even get to the Western Conference Finals if it's not for D'Angelo Russell. But I do get it, right? What have you done for me lately? But here's the thing. Will D'Lo take some strides this year? I personally think he will. I'm not saying he's going to go from 17 a game to 25 a game. I just think that with a full offseason, full training camp, full preseason, and then an 82-game regular season, he's going to have time to build chemistry, get more comfortable, have a better understanding of just the offense and everything. You just got to remember, like, after the trade deadline, this roster was basically duct taped together and told to go out there and play basketball. And they made the Western Conference Finals, right? I get it. You have to win championships. Championships are bust. I'm with you on that. But given the circumstances of the season, it was a success. It was a major success. And D'Lo was a huge part of that. How many times did we see D'Lo turn the ball over, not because he just made a bad decision or just turned the ball over, but because of lack of communication and chemistry? You know, I thought you were going to be here and you were over there. He likes the ball here. Instead, it's over there. And he was still able to give you like 6 assists a game. And this roster didn't even play 10 games together before the playoffs. Anthony Davis missed some games. LeBron James missed a bunch of games. And even D'Lo missed some games with a foot injury. He should be healthy and not have that foot issue. So that should be helpful. And I imagine will help his game a little bit because he did look kind of sluggish out there. Like, at times he looked weird. And I even had people point that out and were like, what's wrong with D'Lo? He just doesn't look right out there. A lot of it could have been his foot injury. Right? I'm not saying it was. I'm not trying to give him an excuse, but still, it's a real possibility. We saw it affect LeBron James. We saw it affect Anthony Davis. But you got to imagine that he's going to be healthier. On top of him being healthier, he's going to be able to build that chemistry. And that is important as a point guard. Because out of anybody, you need to have the most chemistry with everybody because you are the setup guy. You're the guy that needs to understand how the offense operates, where everyone's going to be on the court at all times, and where do guys like the ball? You know, a shooter, right? Where's his shooting pocket? You know, because some guys have different little spots. Does he like it on the left side? Does he like it on the right side? Okay, when we run this play, this guy's going to cut, so he's going to have the open lane here. Like, all of those things are very important as a point guard. Knowing where guys are going to be before they're there. D'Lo never had the opportunity to do that and to understand that and build on that. I think he will be more effective and more efficient and will get a real sample size. Again, he played 17 games total for the Lakers. He averaged just under 31 minutes per game in that time. He gave us 17 and a half points. He averaged 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and gave you just under a steal and just under a block per game. He averaged 2.3 turnovers per game. That is really good. So he was basically 2 for 1 as far as assist to turnover ratio, which is really good in the NBA. And then on top of that, he had no prep time with these guys. He played 17 games. 17. And every game was do or die. Every game was crucial. Every game was You cannot blow this. And what did he do? The guy shot 48.4% from the field total, right? 48.4% from the field total. He shot 41.4% from three on 6.5 attempts. He didn't shoot 41, almost 42% on like 2 attempts where it's like, yeah, but he did. Like, what happens if he shoots 3? No, this guy shot almost 7 threes a game and shot it at a 41.4% clip. Even with Minnesota, he shot at a 39.1% clip on 7 threes. The guy averages anywhere from 7 to 8 threes a game for his career. He's a 7 3-point attempt per game guy. And the guy has shot the last 4 years 38% or better. Like, that's really good. Really good. And then from 2-point range, he shot 55.5%. He had a total EFG of 58.8. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And people don't think that he's going to be significant. Even if he drops, say, 5% total, he would still be very good at the game of basketball for the Lakers. And I think he'll be more comfortable. I think he'll be in a better understanding of what his role is. Now he's got the contract, so there's less pressure of like, oh, hey, I'm playing for a contract too. Yes, it's a player option year 2, but he does have that to fall back on $18.5 million. So the pressure of like, man, I got to play great. I have to show what I'm capable of because I need that contract. That goes away. He gets more comfortable because now he's got the coach and he's got the team and he's in LA and all that stuff. And I don't think, like, so many people were like, oh, he just wasn't ready for the moment. The moment was too big. But I don't think that's what it is. I mean, the guy, like I said, took over on several occasions in the Warriors and the Memphis series and didn't seem uncomfortable at all, right? And then he hit game winners for the Lakers and hit timely shots down the stretch for the Lakers that won them games and all of that, right? Mr. Ice in his veins. The guy's hit game winners. The guy's been in the playoffs. But you know what he's never been in? He's never been that deep in the playoffs. Well, now he has. So maybe now he can kind of take that step back and be more comfortable if the Lakers get back to the Western Conference Finals. And he can then kind of just, take a deep breath and here we go. Let's go. The pressure isn't going to be there as much. It also could have very well just been fatigue. I mean, seriously, right? I mean, look, D'Lo went from a Minnesota team that was doing everything they could, had to play every game like it was do or die to make the play-in and to try to make the playoffs and at least stay afloat, right? They were a struggling team as well. And then he went from there to the Lakers, where every game was do or die. All of them. All 17 games he played, he had to play perfect. And he had to play as great as he could. I mean, everybody on the Lakers looked exhausted. Everybody was tired. Right? I mean, this guy was playing 31 plus minutes a game and having to play like it was game 7 of the playoffs every single game. That is very taxing. Very taxing. The reason why guys take games off and take days off and all that stuff. But no, D'Lo wasn't able to, right? And then he had to go into the playoffs and play a big role and be huge. Well, now he's not going to have to do that, right? He's not going to have to. The Lakers should be a good team and not, fighting for their lives, right? This is a team that should very well be in the hunt for, a top 4 or 5 seed at the worst. And the only reason I say top 4 or 5 seed is because I just think that the Lakers are not going to be, I don't think they're going to care about seeding. I think they're going to care about, like, can we get to the playoffs healthy? And I think that that'll be the focus. But I think D'Lo is going to be a huge factor this year. I really do. Because I think LeBron is going to kind of coast. I think he'll get his 20 just here and there because he's LeBron James and just stepping on the court, he's going to get 20 points. But I think for the most part, he's just going to kind of be coasting out there. And I think D'Lo and Reeves on any given night are very likely going to be your number 2 and 3 option. I think if D'Lo has it going, he's the number 2 that night. If Reeves has it going, he's the number 2 that night. And then the other one ends up being the number 3 option. Right? I do. Because I think Anthony Davis they're going to try to make Anthony Davis the guy. And then I think Austin Reeves and D'Lo are going to be the other guys that handle the playmaking and scoring role, because they're our best shooters. They're our ball handlers, the guys that are making plays, and they're guys that can play off the ball well and all that stuff. Like, I think they're the guys that handle a lot of the scoring load. I think between D'Lo and Austin Reeves, the Lakers get 30 to maybe 40 points per game on a nightly basis. And these three guys that you see on screen, I think are going to be so important for the Lakers this year. Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and D'Lo. But there are real question marks for all three of them, right? Rui Hachimura, he was great in the playoffs. Great. Can that translate to the regular season, though? His whole career, which, is not like a huge, long, like he's been in the NBA for 15 years, but the times that he's been in the playoffs, which, yes, is a small sample size, every single time he has elevated his game and been better in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. But can he translate that into the regular season? He just got paid. A lot of people think he was overpaid. I think he was slightly overpaid. I thought, $15 million a year was a good ballpark. But $17 million, like, why split hairs? You got him for the long haul. He's a guy that I think will be very valuable, very important, right? And he's a guy that we know will deliver in the playoffs. But we need him to translate into the regular season. That's a real question mark. And then defensively, on the defensive end, right? He can be a liability at times on defense. He's not quick-footed. He struggles guarding perimeter guys. But can he make that correction and that adjustment, right? Austin Reeves, right? He really, really took off in the second half of that season and the playoffs. He was him during that, 40-game period or whatever. He was incredible. But now that teams have tape and Austin Reeves is on the scouting report and the NBA is trying to eliminate a lot of what Austin Reeves took advantage of, which was creating contact and drawing fouls and stuff like that, like, is he able to have the same impact? Now, I think he is. I think he can. But it's a real question mark. Until we see it, we won't know, right? I think that he is a very talented player. He could shoot the ball. He can create his own shot. He can create for others. It's very valuable. But there is a real question of, is he able to duplicate what he did for a whole season? Or was that just like hey, it was the moment? I mean, even Paul George has talked about, like, hey, it's when you're out there and they don't really know or care who you are and you're coming and you're blossoming into your own. He's like, it's the easiest thing in the world. You go drop 20 on any given night and it's cake. He said, once you're on that scouting report, everything changes. They're throwing double teams at you. Teams are trying to lock you down. They're putting their best defender on you on any given night. He's like, it becomes a completely different scenario when you're on the scouting report. So there's questions about Reeves. And then D'Lo, of course. D'Lo, his questions aren't about the regular season. Right? Out of everybody, he's the one guy that his whole career has delivered in the regular season. And you want to talk about consistency? This guy, for his entire career, averages 17 points per game. I mean, this guy is guaranteed to give you 17 points per game. Like, he had seasons where he scored more, right? He's had seasons where he scored 20 plus, 19 plus, but, like, his worst seasons were, like, 15 and a half to 17 points per game every year, right? So he's Mr. Consistency in the regular season. You're not going to have to worry about D'Lo in the regular season. It's the playoffs. Can he overcome his demons come playoff time? That's the big question for him. But I like D'Lo. I think D'Lo is a great fit for this roster. I think he's going to have a great year, and I think the Lakers are going to be very good, and a lot of it is going to have to do with D'Lo. But those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Agree with me, disagree with me, somewhere in between. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.